Great to see you again, my friend.
Nice to see you.
How many suits do you go through in this movie?
How many suits do I go through? Well, I wear a couple, and there's fighting suits, there's the kind of beauty suits, you know, the totally together ones. The fighting suits have certain fabrics and different kinds of stitching and biasing just so that you can move different or move more freely. And I went through a few of them.
How sore are you? This is all, we've talked over all of the films.
Yeah.
So these are questions that I haven't asked you before. I went through all our interviews.
Okay.
And last night as I'm watching the movie, which is pure adrenaline, it's awesome, man.
Thank you.
I'm thinking I have to ask Keanu these questions. How sore are you after a day of filming?
Sore. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it depends on the day, but sometimes you're a little limpy and gimpy, and you know, I really, you know, I had like an ice tub bath in my apartment, so that, you know, put that down, set that going, get the cold water going. So, but you know, there's a great pleasure to being sore and beat up, right? It's like a good day's work. You know, we did some fighting, and it just suffered a little bit. Well, maybe not suffered, but you know, it took something.
Maybe after it's done. I don't think going through it. I actually felt sorry for you because you really take. Do you take more of a beating in this one than the other two? It seems like
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm like,
oh, yeah.
You really taking it.
No,
this
the
time.
director loves just crushing John Wick and making him suffer. Yeah, it's fun.
What do you love about playing this character?
What do I love? I mean, I like John Wick's will, and I like his grief. You know, I think, you know, he's got a lot of heart, and he's fighting for his life. And I like the quest, the honor of the guy. I like his sense of humor. He's a pretty dry sense of humor.
We've talked a couple of times over the course of your films. You're an incredible person. I mean, we hear the news stories about you all the time. And Keanu, you're just a nice guy. So I'm curious, I need to ask you this. Do you have like a life creed, like a motto that you live by?
I don't. I just, it's kind of you to say. I don't know if it's true, but
it's very true.
Anyway, that's kind. Yeah, I mean, I think I do. Well, everyone does that. I mean, it's just, you know, don't be an asshole.
You know what? That works, man.
You know, have some respect for other people, and just, you know, live and let live, but be cool and enjoy yourself. I mean, come on, look how lucky we are.
Exactly.
You know, we're sitting on a planet. You know, I mean, my gosh.
Love that. We're going to close with this. What can you tell us about Face the Music?
Bill and Ted. Let's see. What can I tell you? We have a really good story, and it's exciting to be doing again. And basically, Bill and Ted were supposed to unify the world with their music, and that hasn't happened. So, but they feel the pressure of still trying to write that song. And now they're married. There's kids. And it's what do their lives look like? What's it like to have that pressure? And then the future comes down and says, well, it's actually not just unify the world, but maybe save existence.
Great to see you again,
And you.
Ian. And it's awesome to meet you, man. I haven't had an opportunity to interview you in the other John Wick movies, so when I saw that you were doing interviews, I said, awesome, we get to talk.
Cool.
What is it like to jump back into these roles in these just amazing films? What is it like? Is it like riding a bike, you just get back on it and do it again? Or, because these are central characters to this story.
I mean, for me, I have to find it again every time, a little bit. Because the character's so kind of foreign to me, you know, he's so different from me. That's, for me, that's part of the challenge, but it's also part of what's exciting about it.
Same question for you, Ian.
Well, we said before, we have a sort of a good understanding, Lance and me. I mean, we said that we both got backstories we invented, which we've never told each other about. I mean, I always believed that, you know, I recruited you back in the late 50s or 60s when I was in the MI6 desk in Africa somewhere. And you were my go-to guy, whatever. And we continued the relationship after whatever happened.
See, my backstory is slightly different, but...
Of course it is. It has to be. But we don't talk about it. But that's what you bring with it, that we've known each other forever. And there's no sort of relationship when they are equal. They know each other so well. And they react so well with each other. And they both have a huge affectionate feeling for John Wick.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as I'm watching this movie, I thought about that because do you stay in touch in between the films, or because you two really your chemistry is amazing.
Well, it's funny because we didn't have any scenes together. Well, except on the phone, we didn't have any scenes together the first two films. But the relationship.
No, we met on the bridge, but the first time. Remember the last
right,
scene?
that's right. You're right.
No, we
you're
just
right,
met.
right.
No, we never.
My
when I
mind
get
is
in the
going,
car.
oh.
No, I get in the car. I get in the car, then you don't see us.
And the funny, can I just tell him? You probably don't remember this, but when I first met him, I was so starstruck because he's one of my favorite actors. That I said, "Oh!" And he was looking at me like, "Why are you being so weird?" Hi.
I did that at Hellboy with you. I was like, man. So yeah, I did this. You go back and watch that video. I'm like looking at him, going, "It's really Ian McShane."
No, you know something. They're really nicely written in the sense of, apart from there's just enough to go with the action, which is of course the main thrust of the movie, and quite right. But that is done so well. You have to ground the movie in something else, and that's how you ground it in this hotel. I'm glad this one you get to know a bit more about his character, my character, not too much. Thank God. But you know how they feel about John Wick. And you know at the end. Well, you don't know. You may be a little ambivalent because the ending is, thank God, it's a little different to the others.
How do you both stay so calm, cool, and collected? You especially. Some of the lines you deliver in this film are just like, it's maybe 2 words, but the way you deliver it, how do you do it? What's your secrets?
That's the character. I mean, I'm not sure what to say. Part of kind of getting into the character is developing that kind of when you're in a position of just as a concierge, forgetting about all the killing stuff. My notion is that when you're in a position of service and it's at the top of the line, I mean, your thing is to be the customer's always right, and whatever happens, I'll handle it, and that's just the way it is.
Great to see you again.
You too.
And you as well, my friend. I told you in the hallway, before the interview started, I said this is a non-stop adrenaline rush. It doesn't stop. So I'll start with you, Halle. I'll start with the question for you. Did it feel like an adrenaline rush as you were filming this?
It felt like an adrenaline rush from the day I met Chad, all through my training and all through shooting. Was a constant 9-month adrenaline rush.
What's the biggest thrill about doing these films?
Honestly, it's being on set, trying to put something together that you yourself haven't seen as an audience. Like, I love being an audience member still, too. So when you see Halle Berry and Keanu with, 5 Belgian Malawans attacking 30 stuntmen that you brought from all over the world, and you actually start pulling it off, and you get shot after shot, and you're slowly building a sequence, and about halfway through, you realize, like, oh, holy shit, it's gonna work. Like, that's a pretty good rush.
As you read this script, what struck you the strongest? Like, what was the biggest part about as you read this story?
I think all the different worlds that we get to visit this time really struck me. I know Sophia had her own world, which was very unique, but all the different worlds that John Wick gets to make his way through this time, I found each of them unique and interesting, with interesting new players that he got to deal with, and I think that set this apart from the one before.
What's the biggest challenge about filming these, putting these together?
It's always, every director will give you a different answer per project, but for me, it's always riding tone. To have fun, to make fun of ourselves, to be self-effacing at the same time, give a little bit of gravitas to each of the characters and their little journey and their emotional connection to the worlds they're coming from and their motivations. But it's just the little balancing act. What's too much? What's too little? That kind of thing.
Working in stunts, did that help? I'll actually ask you this question. Having a stunt guy as your director, that had to have helped. That had to have helped, right?
Oh my God.
Or maybe it made it more difficult because
Put it this way, I broke 3 ribs.
Oh my! You did?
Well, I didn't do it.
He's tough.
He didn't do it, but I did.
Get that right.
He did not do it. But that was the level of training that I got put through, and I happily got put through. But it's pretty intense. And having, one of the best stuntmen in the business before he turned director is definitely a plus. He expects more of everybody, demands more, we work harder. He doesn't stop, doesn't take no for an answer, and so you get, I think, what you see on the screen in John Wick 3.
Non-stop.
It's a spectacle.
I said that at the beginning, very non-stop.
Yeah.
What's it like to direct a cast like this? Look at the names in this film. Halle Berry, who I absolutely love. I mean, you've got Keanu Reeves. You've got a great cast. So as a director, you've got to be just so proud of.
On all 3 films, I've loved my cast. I think that's something I was given advice when I did my first directing job on the first John Wick was, both from Keanu and through other people that were help guiding me in the business was, you get a great cast, your job's gonna be much easier. And it's absolutely true. Super collaborative. Yeah, it makes me try to step up and take my job a lot more serious. I don't wanna show up and not have an opinion with Halle Berry and Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick, Angelica Houston, Kate Dillon. Yeah, and Mark Dacascos. I'm like, so when you show up, you want to impress them as much as they want to, work with you. So, and again, I came up through, much like Halle, well, we came up through the Wachowski school of thought. So I spent years with them on the Matrixes, and their big mantra was the world building word thing. And, some of the most important aspects of world building, is your cast. If you get great people to occupy your world will be interesting.